Jimmy the Shand. Jimmy and I first got to know each other on the Highland Trail 550 last year. That's a 550-mile mountain bike race around the Highlands of Scotland. The rules are simple. You can eat and sleep when you like, but the clock never stops. You have to follow this set route, and you have to remain completely self-sufficient, which for me means carrying everything I need to eat and sleep along the way. But the story I want to share with you today is the story of how I raced this race. It's the day after the Highland Trail 550, and I feel like I've just woken from a dream. A 4-day adventure of moving through the most magical of dream worlds. I've been changed by this, unquestionably changed. To move like this, to manage myself like this, has taught me more about myself in 4 days than an entire career of elite level racing ever did. And the thing is, it was easy. Not the pushing of the pedals or the carrying of my fully loaded bike over call after call. Of course, that was hard. What was easy was the simplicity of the doing and being. Because when the ride just becomes life and your only objective is to keep moving forwards through it, then things become very simple and peaceful. Nothing hurts. Not really. The painful points, they come and go like the weather, and in the end, like the weather, are neither good or bad. This was just a big bike ride. But I find, as a result of riding 550 miles in 4 days, 5 hours and 50 minutes, I'm quite changed. Day 1. 60 of us assemble in Tyndrum on the 26th of May for a 9 a.m. start. There's no fanfare, there's no start gun. Somebody just says go and we are off, barreling up the West Highland Way, 59 bearded blokes and me. I ride for 130 miles that first day, until at one point in the late afternoon, I look around and vaguely register that in a small group of guys, I'm leading this race. At 1 a.m., I bed down in a midgy ditch and catch 3 hours of blissful sleep. Day 2 is a blur, a fast Land Rover track and darkening skies, until I reach the most northerly point in the route, Glengolly. I look up at the infamous Bealach na Ba and I think, oh, I've got to carry my bike up that. And I just don't know if I can. I'm tired, I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm scared. I think back to the advice that those mountain bike coaches in my professional racing days would have given me. They would have said, Lee, if something scares you, you attack it, claim it, conquer it. But I don't want to. I just want a cuddle from my mum. And so instead, I conjure her up in my mind's eye and all the other amazing people I've got in my life that would care for me and encourage me to the top of the Bealach. And together, we inch our way up that climb. And when I get to the top, I'm rewarded. Just a few meters away are 4 young deer. They sniff the air and they waggle their ears. And then they actually walk towards me. Now, I don't know about you, but that has never happened to me before. Day 3. It's 9 a.m. and I've already been riding for 5 hours. My senses are so sharpened by isolation that the birds are deafening. The gorse smells overwhelming. But I have to resupply with food, so I drop down into Ullapool and visit Tesco's. If your senses are already heightened, do not go to Tesco's. I grab whatever I need to survive on the bike and leave with pockets full of custard and sardines, and I am back into the mountains, back into my safe place. I ride for another 10 hours that day until fatigue overwhelms me, I fall asleep on the bike, and I end up in the heather. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why did she not just go home and make herself a nice cup of tea? But the thing is, if I did that, that cup of tea would only be a nice cup of tea. And I know if I can get to the end of this ride, that cup of tea will taste sublime. The next day, I literally bump into the 2 race leaders. I turn a corner on the trail, and there they are. They are swearing and cursing and muscling their bikes over tussocky grass. Now, I am honored to be up there in the mix with these guys. They're a bit confused that a woman is there too, matching their pace, but I deserve to be. They're covering the ground faster than I am, but my stops are more efficient. They are running the gauntlet between food outlets, whereas with my high percentage body fat and female metabolism, I can afford to cruise a bit more steadily. We're all stressed out here, but we're handling that stress differently. It looks very much to me as though the boys are battling, conquering, striving to get through this terrain, whereas I'm actually drawing strength from the environment that I'm moving through and from the people I'm gathering around me in my head. You could say I'm racing this in a female way, but that's maybe not quite accurate, because what happens next surprises us all. With the two lead riders way up ahead, knocking lumps out of each other to get to the finish line first, I am joined 10 miles from the end by two other guys. And wordlessly, we agree we're going to ride this race in together. And that's how it ends. The three of us discussing politics, religion, the arts, feminism, holding gates open for each other, and then lining up three abreast to roll over that finish line together after 4 days, 5 hours, and 50 minutes in joint third place. Just a few hours, 2 hours in fact, behind the lead riders, who incidentally are in a crumpled little heap in the car park. And it occurs to me that so often we allow these characteristics to be overshadowed by strength and aggression. Cooperation, collaboration, mutual care, remaining connected to each other in the environment. We're teaching our children that in order to succeed, they have to be infallible and show unyielding strength. And yet, maybe there's a different way to win the race. You'll need to excuse Jimmy and I now. We have to get on a flight to Canada this weekend, where we are racing 3,000 miles to the Mexican border. Wish us luck.